now becomes past. Here I write this, and it is the present. It is now, in this moment in time. As you hear it for the first time, it is the present for you. Yet I wrote it in the past, not long ago perhaps, depending on when you view it, but still the past, done, over. Now I am doing something else. It could be further into the past. Maybe you are viewing this video days, weeks, months, even years later after I wrote it and put it on. And who knows what I may be doing now, maybe not even alive anymore. It's even possible you could be just now viewing it 6 months later, a year, 2, 5, 10, decades, 100, hundreds of years later, if it has been preserved by someone and passed down or found by someone else, by others that are seeing it. If so, I say hi to you in the future from me in the past. Hope you and the world are doing well. It's potentially, virtually eternal. As long as there are still humans on Earth and a means to play it, that it's not too degraded or has been properly duplicated and perhaps carefully stored somewhere. If it hasn't been allowed to degrade into oblivion, that would make me somewhat immortalized in a sense. Even if I myself, this person that is me, is long gone, long ago. Certainly not saying it should be or that it's important. It could become just old ideas, some guy rambling. People are on to other things. Life goes on. New generations are coming and going with new priorities, new interests, other things to do with their own realized limited time on this earth. In such a case, or cases, then I do apologize if this is wasting your precious time. Or maybe man is now easily leaving the earth, has already colonized the moon, Mars, has or is developing starships to travel the galaxy and beyond, out into that big universe, the final frontier. Something that doesn't occur here in my time. Sorry if I am boring you. Maybe it's a very exciting time and you have a lot to do. Or maybe you're listening out of curiosity and that this guy wanted to send this to the future like a note in a sealed bottle tossed out into the ocean, and you took it out and maybe find it fascinating that you are the one, maybe the only one who discovered this. Then it would be me sending it to you. I think that's interesting. Do you? I took the time to write this. Now you are taking the time to listen to it. In that case, I would like to say that I hope the good ideas we people in my time, early in the 21st century, did some good for your time. That the ideas of now can become the reality of tomorrow. Did we have a positive impact on your time? Or did we create problems you had to fix in your time? Did we set the world back hundreds or thousands of years by nuclear exchange, and you are a survivor, a descendant of a survivor of that? And maybe angry at us being so stupid and not having enough sense to avoid doing that. If so, I will say I am very sorry for what we caused, even though I myself have nothing to do with that at all. Maybe you just recently developed the means to play this, that it had to be reinvented all over again. But now you can see it, and others too that may be around. Or maybe nothing like that happened. Technology has continued to advance. There was no such tragedy. Maybe your time has eliminated that threat and the extreme danger of such weapons of mass destruction. I hope so, for your sakes. Maybe you soon will be realizing there is no use for this and are about to throw it away. Or maybe you are curious and will listen to it all. I won't know either way. Or maybe it will be tossed after you heard it all. Nothing I can do about that. It was just an experiment of mine. To me, it's fascinating to think someone way into the future could be hearing this from me, that you are listening to it. If so, how has the world changed since my time? Of course, I won't hear the answer, but just thought I'd ask. Maybe you can put this on a shelf, a safe place, and again, someone in your future could find it and hear it. If so, then I would say hello to you, the next person that finds it, and so on. I wonder how long this could be preserved and passed on to the future. If you like experiments, you can join me in this. Or maybe it's just silly. Or maybe it's not. It's more fascinating to me if it was still around far into the future. Not because it's important or vital, but as an experiment. That it is preserved and passed on for perhaps centuries, even millennia, would be something that my words are around even thousands of years later. It could be very interesting that it was passed on for so long, even though it really has no true value as far as changing your world. Is it just ridiculous? Is it my own way to be immortalized, since realizing I am a mortal being working on limited time? Or is it quite an experiment? And you are going to be next in line and make sure that it continues as an experiment. I guess it depends on who you are. So anyway, there's a song that says, time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. It's called Fly Like an Eagle by a band with the same name, The Eagles. It's easily found on YouTube. Does that still even exist? Or did YouTube become a thing of the past? Slipping is an interesting way to say it. It's like sliding, escaping, or getting loose from, as in from a means of restraint. And to move quietly or quickly without attracting notice. Get away, break free, to pass, typically in a gradual or imperceptible way, lapse. Well, you get the idea. Basically, that time moves forward and soon is the past. And it gets further and further into the past, becomes ancient. I think of all those people doing videos, entertaining and educating today's world on an inner site called YouTube, who all are potentially immortalized on video. So this is not only about me, but also them. As of now, the ideas are fresh, new, exciting, interesting. Will they stay that way? For how long? Would only some be preserved? Only ones that are the best or most vital? Or as many as possible? And who would decide what is to be preserved, what is to be discarded? Who decides the criteria? And if it changes, who decides that? Would they all, including mine here, become obsolete, old, unnecessary, not even stored, but thrown away? Would men morph into cyborg-type beings combined with technology? Would lifespan be greatly increased? Perhaps man finds a way to transfer his consciousness into an android and be able to continue to do that, thereby essentially living forever through science and technology. Could he prevent the sun, that star of ours, from dying? Could it be such a radically different world than it is now? We have seen science fiction become science fact. Are you that's viewing and hearing this a cyborg, an android, or computer? Or maybe this gets destroyed by a terrorist act, a bomb, fire, flood, etc. Someone spilled a drink on it, or dropped it in water or something and it's unusable, tossed. Or maybe only parts of it can be deciphered. Again, not of much use, kind of third-rate, tossed because of poor quality, or barely any of it even discernible. Or maybe it's fully intact and someone has a little corner somewhere where they store it, along with a note to preserve it, and so on. This great experiment, or totally silly one. Maybe it just winds up at the dump site, really where it belongs, and heaps of garbage are dumped on top of it and packed down, and it's getting disgusting. Trash, degrading, spoiling, etc. all around it. It's never found, viewed, or heard again for all of time. Only time will tell. And again, not for only this, but the many video productions now being made. What is the future of all these videos? I imagine most or all would become unnecessary or obsolete, old news, except ones that are important, like science ones, or something that actually improves the world in a real way. And just how many would actually fall into that category of all the many that are on there now and will be? Of all, out of the total sum of videos. And if someday no more were added, that it was all done and there are no more being made, and there is no longer a YouTube. And maybe nothing else that quite replaces it. Possibly not anytime soon, if ever. But forever is a long time and things do change. What will happen to the internet? Will it continue? Or at some time change to something else, or not exist at all? Same with computers. Would something replace them? Maybe things built into walls and screens that are voice activated, motion activated, or by sound, eye recognition, etc. And computers to become the old technology. Just how far can man take all of this technology? If a chip or chips are added to our bodies, will we still remain human? Will we retain our humanity? Or become more robot-like, indifferent, maybe more emotionless? That it could improve us in some ways and make us worse in others. Would a group control most of mankind and themselves not have the chips, or else other ones? Would we become a race of slaves and serving only a few, like meat puppets? That would be sad to think that man's free will, spontaneity, humanity, ability to think for himself or herself be lost, forever changed. that maybe only a small number of people would actually be having these abilities. How would that change the world over time? They may get very twisted in using mankind for their whims. They basically could do anything they wanted with mankind. Some could find this fascinating. Some may be wanting this as a goal. Well, they may become part of the experiment. And if it doesn't turn out the way they hope and think it is, that might be a great thing for humanity. People in the past have been promised things, used, only to be betrayed. I wish I had a time machine or camera that could peer into the future and could adjust it and see the different parts of the world and their futures. A little bit into the future, on up to thousands of years into the future. Of course, such devices would probably never exist, yet man is resourceful and very ingenious, so who knows? Travel to the past, the future, is it possible? Probably not in my lifetime. There could be fantastic things in the future that none of us could ever dream of, or we humans may at some point not exist on this planet anymore. Extinction, or maybe had to leave it, and maybe not everyone but a select few, to leave our own solar system before our star goes supernova, then to search for a planet, and then to try to prevent that star from going supernova. Maybe our species actually finds a new Earth-like planet and is able to start over, learns from history and doesn't repeat the same mistakes. Maybe builds a futuristic and fantastic technological planet and builds more and more starships and spreads out into the universe. Possibly, eventually runs into life forms out there, which seems a very high possibility. Then, who knows? Maybe get conquered or destroyed. Or form an alliance and learn and grow and prosper. Maybe our human species actually spreads out throughout not only the galaxy, but other galaxies and throughout this universe. Would be quite a thing, quite an accomplishment.